Hello and welcome to a Firstpost PoV. Here in India, we're still coming to terms with what happened earlier this week. So you may know terrorists attacked and killed 27 people, all of them civilians, in a valley near Kashmir. And almost a dozen other people were injured. Now, this sort of an attack leaves a lot of questions in its wakes, like how did this happen after so many months of normalcy? What were these terrorists hoping to achieve right now? And how and when will India respond to this sort of an attack? To answer these questions, let me introduce my guest, Mr. Dilip Sinha, who's a former Indian diplomat. He served as India's permanent representative at the United Nations in Geneva. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us.
Thank you, Prathik, for having me.
Let's talk about India's response yesterday, those diplomatic moves that were announced, including suspending the Indus Waters Treaty, as well as effectively barring any Pakistani from visiting India. Do you think that's the extent of India's diplomatic response, or do you think there are more cards that New Delhi will eventually play?
Well, I don't know. I'm not part of government, so I don't know what other responses government of India is thinking of. I'm sure there will be some because the public reaction in India has been extremely strong. But the reaction that came yesterday, I think, are quite mild. We have only suspended the operation of the treaty. We have not abrogated the treaty yet. And the other steps of downgrading diplomatic relations and the movement of people, these steps have been taken in the past as well. The cost to Pakistan for these will be minimal. Whatever the suspension of the treaty itself has really practically very little meaning because the treaty is a complex treaty. It bars India from taking certain steps on making dams in Jammu and Kashmir. And even if we keep it suspended for some period of time, once the treaty comes back into effect, then all our actions taken during the period of suspension will be open to scrutiny. So we will have to undo those if we are prepared to honor the treaty or honor our obligations under the treaty. So these steps so far are quite minimalistic.
I'll come to the Indus Waters Treaty in a moment, but let's just dwell on those diplomatic responses. What more can India do diplomatically? We'll come to the military aspects later, but diplomatically, what more can India do to hit back at Pakistan for this? Are there any more options that we could exercise?
Well, the diplomatic options so far have been bilateral. We have so far avoided taking Pakistan to any international forum because we've always believed that we should deal with Pakistan bilaterally. But we can, for example, go to the UN, to the Security Council, to other bodies, and have it condemn Pakistan's attack. These are options open to us. Whether we exercise them or not is up to us to decide. Many would say that those would be symbolic, but then, as I said, diplomatic actions are necessarily symbolic in nature because it doesn't really hurt Pakistan if the people's movement is curtailed. The military rulers of Pakistan are not concerned with that, nor will they be concerned with the downgrading of diplomatic relations with India. Trade also doesn't affect the military rulers. So the costs to the Pakistani military, which spearheads this jihadi campaign against India, will have to be imposed through other means. Diplomatic means do not give you enough options.
Just to understand the Indus Waters Treaty a bit more, why is this treaty so significant for these two countries? And why in the past has New Delhi been reluctant to suspend this treaty? I mean, it's survived multiple wars and terror attacks. So why has India been reluctant in the past to suspend it? Is there any reason for that?
Well, this is quite a unique treaty. It is there are maybe at least 300 international rivers, but nowhere in the world does the upper riparian give so many rights to the lower riparian. We have given away 70% of the waters to Pakistan. We also gave them money to build certain downstream canals when the agreement was first signed. We have agreed that whatever dams we make on the so-called western rivers, which means the rivers in J&K, Pakistan has the right to come and inspect them. The treaty is, and in case Pakistan objects to the design of the dam, and if it thinks that the design of the dam is not in conformity with the treaty, then it can invoke the dispute settlement mechanism. There are two separate dispute settlement mechanisms in the Indus Waters Treaty. Now, in the early years, in the last century, uh, we did not ever take Pakistan to the dispute settlement mechanism. In the case of the Salal Dam, Pakistan raised certain objections to the design. We buckled, we made those design changes. The result was that whatever little storage we were allowed under the treaty in the dam's design were lost in a matter of a few years because of siltation. This year, when in the Baglihar case, when Pakistan raised objections, Pakistan had been raising objections earlier also, but in around 2005 or 6, we took the matter to the dispute settlement mechanism. A neutral expert was appointed, and he upheld India's design. So India's design, which we had altered in the case of Salal Dam, we won the case in the case of the Baglihar Dam. Then a few years later, Pakistan invoked again the dispute settlement mechanism. This time it invokes the arbitration clause. This was in the case of the Kishanganga project. There again, India won. Now, again, I believe there's another case in which Pakistan has invoked both the neutral expert and the arbitration. And we have said that this is against the provisions of the treaty. You can invoke only one of the two. But Pakistan insisted on going ahead with both. So we appealed against that, and the neutral expert ruled that he had the right to uh, hold his case in the matter, with the result that we got our way on that point at least. In between, if you remember, after Uri, we had stopped the meetings of the uh, Indus permanent commissioners. But there are these commissioners, Indus Waters commissioners, who are part of this permanent Indus Waters Commission, and they meet periodically, essentially to review the progress, and which means basically to review India's plans on dams. We had suspended those meetings, but later on we restarted those meetings. Last year, we asked Pakistan to amend the treaty because we wanted to clarify this dispute settlement mechanism. I don't think Pakistan has responded to that yet. Certainly, there's been no change in the treaty. The treaty itself has no provision for its termination. So, if we want to terminate the treaty, we'll have to invoke the Vienna Convention on Treaties, which says that if there is a significant change in conditions, which alter the material conditions and in which the treaty was negotiated, then of course the treaty can be annulled. And I think we should do that because, as I said, within the treaty itself, there is no provision for by which we can compel Pakistan either to amend the treaty or to uh, abrogate it. We'll have to do it unilaterally. If we do it, India, in any case, has been generally reluctant to take very strong action against Pakistan in these matters. Uh, the last time we had stopped the Indus commissioners from meeting. This time we have only suspended the treaty. The fact is that conditions have changed completely between India and Pakistan. One is the fact that Pakistan continues to exercise promote terrorism against us, including attacks on our workers who are involved in dam building. And also because of the 6 rivers involved in the Indus waters, 2 come from Tibet. And China is the upper riparian in these. We are only the middle riparian, and China is building dams on the Satluj and the Indus, and it does not share any information with us. So that material change in the condition gives us the opportunity to cancel this treaty, to abrogate this treaty, because it imposes very onerous restrictions upon us. And as I said, this is quite unique. No other country in the world has accepted such restrictions. In the case of China, which is the upper riparian to so many countries by virtue of its occupation of Tibet, uh, it does not even share hydrological data with us, which it does with Bangladesh, incidentally, on the Brahmaputra River, but it doesn't share with us. It's suspended some years back. So that's the kind of treatment we get where we are the lower riparian. But in the Indus waters, we accept very onerous restrictions on our and obligations towards the lower riparian.
So why haven't successive governments tried to correct this or leave the agreement? Is it a strategic choice? Was it a humanitarian choice? Was it just too much of a logistical nightmare? What was the reason for this?
Well, I can't say what the reasons for not doing this are. After all, there are so many things we have not done against Pakistan for the whether it was the terrorist attacks against us We didn't respond to the Mumbai attack, for example, in 2008. Um, there was only one response, that was the surgical strike. Otherwise, we have not responded to Pakistan's provocations. So it is possibly part of our general policy towards our neighbors that we tend to be soft on them. Uh, with Pakistan, again, we feel that if we take this action, then Pakistan will possibly take us to some of the disputes, take us to the World Bank, or maybe to some other mechanism that it might seek to invoke. I don't think it has any locus standi in that, but the fact is that we have not done anything.
Let's also talk about the timing of this attack. Just last week, we heard some pretty bad comments, to put it mildly, from the Pakistan army chief, where he openly threatened India and Kashmir. And then days later, this attack happens. And even if you look at the long run of things, we've only seen good news from Kashmir, whether it's the tourism boom, whether it's the economy, or whether it's the recently concluded successful elections. So in that context of what Pakistan was saying and how good Kashmir was doing, do you think such an attack was always around the corner and we should have been more careful about it?
I think an attack was always around the corner. I don't think it is correct to say that things have become peaceful in Jammu and Kashmir. If you go back, you find that there have been encounters almost every week in which our security forces were getting killed. Uh, Now, some of these encounters had been taking place in Jammu, because in Kashmir we had increased the tightened security, so they moved to Jammu. When in Jammu we tightened security, they moved back to Kashmir. So these terrorists are floating around in Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, and wherever they find an opening, they attack. Uh, Terrorists uh, are built that way. They are motivated. They are jihadis who come here to die. So if they die, they don't they're quite happy about it. And in case the Pakistani army doesn't pay any price for it, because for them they are getting uh, these sort of cattle free of cost, whom they send across into India. So I don't think it is correct to say that incidents had stopped. Yes, tourism had become very uh, abundant in Jammu and in Kashmir Valley particularly, and Pakistan took full advantage of that to target the most vulnerable in a remote part.
And obviously, in the coming days, we will see a response to this militarily as well. It's looking extremely likely right now, especially after what the Prime Minister said today. And I know this is all in the realm of speculation, but what sort of military options does India have right now, considering we've done a land-based surgical strike, we've done an air strike in 2016 and 2019. So naturally, the expectation is that there will be a bigger attack this time. But what are those low-risk to high-risk options that India effectively has in this case?
Well, I would like to speculate on the kind of military response, because I'm not a military expert. Whatever we do, we should ensure that the security of whoever we is involved in these responses is paramount, because we should not lose more people in the course of such actions. But yes, these are military options. I think only military experts should be called upon to discuss this.
And how do you see the long-term impact of this on Kashmir? Because the Indian government invested nearly 6 years after 2019 into making Kashmir accessible for tourists once again, and even holding elections after almost a decade. Is it possible for us to say that we're back to square one, or would you say this is a setback that can still be corrected? Because you look at the headlines, people are cancelling their visits, the security presence has been upped. It seems like we're back decades and not 5 years.
Well, this is certainly a setback. What is, if you can say, reassuring is the universal condemnation of the attack that is taking place across Kashmir, whether it's political leaders or it is the people. So that is a very reassuring thing, that the support that the terrorists had earlier has perhaps come down. The terrorists don't require support all across the board. All they require is a few safe havens, a few sleeper cells, and they're able to operate. So it's too early to say whether it is we have gone back to square one. Uh, Certainly, our security apparatus in Kashmir has been, in both Jammu and Kashmir, has been strengthened, and I'm sure that we'll be able to keep the situation under control. You must remember that this attack took place in a remote area uh, where there were no security forces present, which was very sad. But it is one of those things where I think we'll have to continue to keep the situation, the military situation under control, and keep up with our policy of uh, promoting uh, both law and order and the economic development of the Union Territory.
And now going forward, there's also a question about how do we ensure something like this doesn't happen, and effectively, how do we re-establish deterrence against these terrorists and Pakistan-sponsored proxies? Is the military option the only way going forward, or do you see diplomacy and politics also playing a role in that?
It'll have to be a combination of all. Military options are essentially limited options because if there's a strike, you strike, and then in any case you have to go back to the negotiating table and start talking. But it is important that we, in the case of, for example, the Indus Waters Treaty, I think we should abrogate the treaty because it is places unnecessary restrictions upon us, and we are under no obligation to share our water with a lower riparian which does not respect either the provisions of the treaty or uh, good neighborly relations with us. In addition to that, I think we have to ensure that our relations, the people to people relations and the other relations, do not facilitate Pakistan setting up sleeper cells inside our territory. Because when you have an increased contact, then it makes it easier for Pakistan to set up sleeper cells in India, which can be activated whenever it wants. So the relations between India and Pakistan have to be kept under very tight control to ensure that the Pakistan establishment is not able to take advantage of this. Uh, in addition, I suppose the military option is always open and should be exercised, obviously by the experts who should decide how it can be done and how it should be done. In addition, I think the diplomatic option of raising Pakistan's treatment of its own minorities, the Baloch, the Pashtuns, the way Pakistan is not prepared, Punjab province is not prepared to share its water with Sindh. These are issues that I think we should start taking up internationally also. At least we should start talking about this to uh, to make the world aware of the kind of repression the Pakistani army is carrying out within its own country on its own people. Of course, with the jihadis and with the army, it is a monocultural setup where minorities, whether it is the Shias or the Ahmadiyas or the Baloch, the Pashtuns, all of them are treated like dirt in the country. And these are things that we should start highlighting to the rest of the world.
Just one final question on that diplomatic campaign that you mentioned. If you look at 2019 and you look at now, India is much better placed in the global forum than before. We've seen countries line up to condemn what happened in Kashmir, and they've expressed solidarity with India. Do you think that sort of a better position in the global stage helps us when we go about solving this issue, whether it's militarily?
Quite certainly, in making the world aware of Pakistan's misdeeds, its violations of international law, should be highlighted. We should carry this out with our friends, and the fact that our position today is stronger and better certainly makes it easier for us. Uh, but we must first start doing that. That, of course, to a certain extent, means that the profile that Pakistan has in our foreign policy, which had over the period of time gone down, uh, will have to be raised again because we'll have to start expending a lot of political capital to bring out the misdeeds of Pakistan, which to a certain extent I think Pakistan will quite enjoy and like because Pakistan's main demand is it doesn't want to be ignored by India. But then we have come to a point where we have to take up this campaign against Pakistan with our friends in the international community to ensure that Pakistan comes under pressure from these countries and we are able to expose to the world Pakistan's support to terrorism and the fact that the financial assistance that Pakistan receives from these countries, at times with military assistance, that should be called into question by us.
Certainly, and the next couple of days and weeks promise to be very challenging for military experts and diplomats on either side of the border. There will be a retaliation most likely from India, and let's see what happens after that. This is a tense period for the entire region, and our hearts go out to the victims, their families who died in Kashmir. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to First Post.
Thank you. Thank you.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.